Today, we'll be looking at how cryptocurrencies can influence the future of freedom. If you're new to this channel, welcome. This is Mr. Singularity, where we explore the scientific and technological breakthroughs shaping the future as we know it. Bitcoin has risen steadily in popularity since its inception in 2009. We learned how many people get rich easily from it, and how much energy it consumes, and how difficult it is to mine. But what we haven't learned much about is how Bitcoin can play a role in human rights and offer more financial and political independence to people who use it. This is the first time that humans have ever been able to send money around the world globally without anyone being able to stop it. You can argue that this is the first time in our history that we have a real resistance to censorship. We're at a crossroads as a society. We're either heading down a centralized route where our communications are regulated and censored, or we're going down a decentralized one that protects our basic freedoms and rights. The role of technology in this crossroads is rather paradoxical. Certain forms may act as a tool of influence for governments or corporations, while other forms place more power in the hands of people. The Chinese government keeps close tabs on the conduct, place, finances, and communications of its people. Facial recognition technology, mobile apps, surveillance drones, and smart glasses are all used to collect information while people go about their everyday lives. And this information is fed into the country's social credit system. Obedient people receive rights and praise, while activists, intellectuals, criminals, and other non-conformers can be refused access to services. And this isn't it. Predictive policing is a reality in China today. If the regime thinks your social credit score is representative of something you could do wrong, they will come and arrest you before you commit a crime. Less dramatic cases exist in the West, he said, but there should also be cause for concern. Whether we're talking about selling our data without our knowledge or permission, our decisions being manipulated by online networks, or the popularity score being given to Facebook users in an effort to combat fake news. Bitcoin, it can help, and it's already doing that. Before Bitcoin, there was no way to do something other than trust a third party internationally. Unstoppable money just didn't exist. I'm telling you that Bitcoin is a groundbreaking upgrade to how humans will network. The fact that it is ownerless and decentralized gives Bitcoin some uniquely resilient properties. It can't be altered, halted, or disrupted. You don't need to know or trust the other party to negotiate with them. And even inside the Bitcoin culture, power is distributed. Its government functions like that. Miners are the executive branch, and they're working to gain the opportunity to add another block to the Bitcoin blockchain. Coders write a script that enables the terminology to be updated. It's the legislative branch, and users determine whether or not to add new blocks on their complete nodes, making them equivalent to the judiciary. No one entirety can control Bitcoin. You need to have a consensus between three very different groups, which makes it very difficult to change. In fact, a hint as to why Bitcoin was built was left in the code of the first Bitcoin block. It was a critique of governments printing more money at the time of financial crises. Bitcoin could do what the internet did to knowledge monopolies to financial monopolies. That is, disrupt or destroy them. As an example, the current crisis in Venezuela and the skyrocketing inflation rate. The International Monetary Fund has estimated that inflation will hit 1,000,000% by the end of this year. The consumer prices were already rising by 46,305% this year. Bitcoin is an escape value for people in Venezuela, he said. It gives them a way to store their money that their government can't spray or inflate to nothing. It offers them a way to share value with their relatives overseas. It increases the capacity of remittances to be permanent. Bitcoin and other decentralized networks are the most useful in countries where citizens cannot trust the government or the banking system. The most recent estimate of the number of people using cryptocurrencies is about 75 million, or 1% of the world's population. But 4 billion people, or almost half the world's population, live under an authoritarian regime, he said. That's a massive opportunity. Whether it's a human impact or a business impact, that's up to you. It is necessary to distinguish between open blockchains such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, and private or corporate blockchains which are closed, centralized, typically approved and censored. Open blockchains are new cash. They offer users anonymity and freedom of speech, a way to use money without being monitored. Bitcoin's very presence is an insurance policy that will warn governments that the last thing the elite might regulate, namely the currency, is no longer a monopoly. This gives us, the crowd, a policy of insurance against the Orwellian future. While Bitcoin has been around for almost a decade now, we're only at the beginning of it. Mobile phones were costly and difficult to use at first. Poor design, low battery life, bad signal. But now, people around the world are using cell phones cheaply and doing a lot more than just calling them. We see Bitcoin pursuing a similar trend of lowered barriers, improved user friendliness, and broader acceptance. The problem is that Bitcoin was built to be slow. Its developers traded scalability and performance for resistance to security and censorship. If we're going to think exponentially and get Bitcoin into the hands of 1 billion people instead of 1 million, we're going to have to find another solution. The proposal? A Lightning network, or networks like that. Lightning is a decentralized network that uses blockchain smart contracts to allow instant transfers between users. But transactions are settled off blockchain, which means faster speeds and lower fees. Lightning can do millions of transactions a second. Even if Lightning's network fails, it is useful as a model for decentralized infrastructure scaling. And, in his eyes, the future of democracy relies on decentralized technology. I think we want to do whatever we can to take a direction that has some form of decentralization, he said, where we protect our freedoms and rights and our privacy. We're going to want it for the future of our world and the future of our species. What's your take on this? Do you support a Lightning network? Let me know down in the comments below and check out one of these other videos. This has been Mr. Singularity, and I'll see you on the next one.